Swedish fighter jets in Ukraine. This is the end of Russia. A new superweapon will wipe the enemy off the face of the earth. Trump dared. Tomahawks will hit Moscow. US miracle missiles could turn the front, and that's not all. The Kremlin panicked when it heard about all these new Ukrainian weapons. Shocking details revealed. Let's talk about it. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Maria Farfanova, and here are the latest news. It's over for Moscow. Kyiv is expecting new deliveries of F-16s as well as Swedish Gripen fighter jets. This was stated by Ukraine's Deputy Minister of Defense, Lieutenant General Ivan Gavrilyuk, in an interview with the BBC. According to him, additional deliveries of F-16s, French Mirage jets and Swedish Gripens are currently anticipated. At the same time, the Deputy Minister of Defense confirmed that Kyiv has already received the first shipments of aid under the PURL mechanism, when European states purchase weapons for Ukraine from the United States.
Previously, under the Presidential Drawdown Authority (PDA) packages, we received aid from the United States regularly and in larger volumes. Today's system, where European countries purchase weapons for us from the Americans, requires more time. The more links in the chain, the more time is lost.
Under the PURL initiative, 6 NATO countries have financed 4 defense aid packages for Ukraine worth more than $2 billion. According to the report, the first aid package of $578 million was funded by the Netherlands, the second by Denmark, Norway and Sweden for $485 million, and third by Germany for $500 million, and the fourth by Canada for $500 million.
The program is working. It is helping very actively. It is exactly the program that allows us to buy American weapons with funds from our partners in the alliance. And these are things like Patriot missiles, HIMARS missiles.
Right now, the American side is coordinating the 5th and 6th packages with Ukraine, and work has already begun on the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th packages. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Luxembourg, Belgium and Iceland have announced their readiness to contribute to the 5th package. Additionally, the United States is considering Ukraine's request to provide Tomahawk missiles. This was announced by Vice President J.D. Vance.
This is a matter on which the final decision will be made by President Trump. I will let the president speak on this himself, but I know that discussions on this issue are taking place right now.
Tomahawk missiles have a range of 2,500 kilometers. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky had earlier asked the United States to sell Tomahawk missiles to European countries, which would then send them to Ukraine. In addition, The Telegraph reported that during a closed meeting with the US President on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, Zelensky also requested that these missiles be provided to Kyiv. In his conversation with Trump, Zelensky stated that Tomahawks would help persuade Putin to come to the negotiation table to discuss a peace agreement. The outlet did not specify how Trump reacted to Zelensky's request. Vance, however, noted that the final decision on whether to allow the deal would be made by Trump.
We are certainly considering a number of requests from the Europeans.
Vance also added that Russia's war in Ukraine has reached the stalemate. According to him, the Russian economy is in decline and the Russian armed forces have achieved no major success in the battlefield.
As we have seen over the past few weeks, the Russians refuse to take part in any bilateral meetings with the Ukrainians. They refuse to take part in any trilateral meetings. Clearly, it is time for them to heed President Trump's call to come to the negotiating table and seriously discuss peace.
Another newspaper, The Wall Street Journal, citing a senior U.S. official, reported that Trump told Zelensky he was ready to lift the ban on strikes with American weapons against Russian territory.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Meanwhile, Ukraine has shocked the world. The largest naval drone Tomahawk is on the hunt. The first photos are stunning. It has become known that this is only one of a family of underwater drones, which includes at least 3 models: Toloka 200s, Toloka 400s and Toloka 1000. They are capable of independently detecting, classifying and neutralizing underwater mines. Experts have revealed the unique capabilities of each of them. For example, the Toloka 200s is the smallest in the lineup, an autonomous underwater drone powered by electric motors.
Range up to 100 kilometers. Payload, munitions explosive, up to 15 kilograms. Endurance, up to 15 days. Operating depth, up to 300 meters. Typical missions, providing radio relay communications, reconnaissance, strike missions and mine laying.
The Toloka 400 underwater drone also impresses with its characteristics. It is designed to carry out missions at medium range and, unlike the previous model, can carry a significantly larger payload.
This is an underwater vehicle with a hybrid power unit designed to carry out reconnaissance, mine laying, signal relay and strike missions at medium range. up to 1,200 kilometers. Payload capacity, 500 kilograms. Endurance, up to 60 days. Operating depth, up to 300 meters.
And finally, the flagship, the Toloka 1000. What's impressive is not only its size, but also its combat capabilities.
Designed to deliver cargo weighing up to 5 tons at distances of up to 2,000 kilometers. Typical missions include destroying large fixed targets and striking objectives in combat zones. It can be fitted with specialized equipment for reconnaissance, mine laying, or mapping minefields, among other tasks.
Ukrainian experts revealed for the first time which fat enemy targets these super powerful naval drones can easily blow to pieces.
The Crimean Bridge or enemy bases in Sevastopol or Novorossiysk. The surface drones we have aren't really suited for that. They can strike a surface ship or some concrete structure. They can do it, but the effect would be limited. With underwater drones, the situation is different.
But wait, that's not all. Ukraine is ramping up cruise missile production. More Fury incoming. Our engineers pulled off the impossible. Flamingo production capacity will quadruple. A true breakthrough is underway. Not just missiles and drones. What Fury onslaught have Ukrainian forces prepared for the enemy? Don't miss the exclusive details ahead.
A new level and scale. Ukraine is ramping up the production of cruise missiles. The developers of the Ukrainian Flamingo missile have stated that the company is producing 50 missiles per month and plans to reach a daily output of 7 missiles by the end of the year. The company claims that its proprietary wing manufacturing technology, which shortens the production cycle, is helping to scale up operations. It should be noted that the Ukrainian missile can fly up to 3,000 kilometers and carry a ton of explosives. In August, the Flamingo struck Russian targets in temporarily occupied Crimea. Early in the morning, 3 missiles were launched from the Ukrainian coast. The strike hit a base of Russian border guards, which is overseen by the Federal Security Service of the aggressor country. Additionally, the manufacturers of the Flamingo have announced the development of their own ballistic missiles, the FP7 and FP9, as well as their defense systems. Thanks to private companies, Ukraine will be able to create innovations in the defense industry and effectively implement them on the battlefield.
It was precisely during the years of the full-scale invasion that Ukraine's defense industry made a revolutionary breakthrough in the production of Ukrainian ballistic missiles. First and foremost, this refers to the modernized version of the Neptune missile. The anti-ship version of the Neptune was modernized to strike land targets. And at the moment, as a result of improved technical and tactical characteristics, according to the developer's assessment, the Neptune now has a range of up to 1,000 kilometers. In addition, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are armed with the previously mentioned operational tactical complex Sapsan, which has a range of up to 500 kilometers. Furthermore, during the years of war, the Ukrainian Defense Forces have demonstrated a unique ability to modernize even Soviet-era weapon systems. Specifically, this refers to the S-200 surface-to-air missile system.
Another of the most important developments has been missile drones such as Palyanytsia, Peklo, Ruta, and Bars.
During the period of the large-scale invasion, Ukraine's defense industry has evolved in terms of producing its own strike weapons. And of course, let's not forget about strike drones. Here, according to the KLG, which is an official recognition of Ukraine's achievements, Ukraine holds leading positions in the world.
The Ukrainian armed forces are successfully striking military targets in the Russian Federation, with oil refineries coming under the sights of drone forces. Drone attacks have put up to 17% of Russia's oil refining capacity out of commission. Ukraine is also actively working on the production of interceptor drones. The Minister of Defense stated that Kyiv will soon reach the capacity to deploy at least 1,000 of these UAVs per day to defend against Russian attacks.
Ukraine holds a leading position in the production of interceptor drones at this moment. This is a Ukrainian know-how. To put the situation into perspective, during the latest provocation by the Russian Federation, specifically the violation of Polish airspace, in order to neutralize decoy Gerberer drones costing $10,000 each, NATO countries' air defense forces used missiles worth $1.5 million. Meanwhile, the relevant Ukrainian side is currently scaling up the so-called drone wall tactic, specifically the use of interceptor drones.
Ukraine is also developing a new air defense system of the air-to-air class, capable of covering large areas. All this means that Ukrainian developers have demonstrated the ability to create high-precision weaponry capable of destroying important enemy military targets deep behind the front lines.
Next up, a new nightmare for the enemy. The Dozor A1 drone has taken to the skies. The hunt has begun, and the skies have become a deadly trap for the invaders. Russians are panicking. Ukrainian tech has them backed into a corner. Artificial intelligence has changed the game on the front. What secrets does our UAV hide, and which high-value target is now in its crosshairs? We reveal it all right now.
New technologies, new challenges. Artificial intelligence, having conquered advanced gadget users, is now being actively used in warfare. Today, almost no modern drone is produced without this technology. Ukrainians, of course, are among the leading UAV designers. Our developers are already actively testing a new interceptor drone. The Ukrainian company Varta is working on implementing an autonomous system for detecting and tracking enemy reconnaissance UAVs and FPV drones for interceptor drones based on artificial intelligence.
Certain components of the artificial intelligence system are indeed already being used in the war that Arafia unleashed against Ukraine. Ukraine is defending itself with technologies that help save human resources, especially when it comes to time. Ukraine is defending itself by using technological components that maximize the efficiency of those same drones in the final meters of their approach to the target, when control over the device is already being lost.
It is reported that the drone will be called Varta Dozor A1 and is already undergoing the final phase of testing. Its main task will be to destroy Russian strike UAVs, which are launched daily against peaceful cities in Ukraine.
We're talking about Geranias, Gerberas, Parodias, and other drones. Overall, as of today, Russia is capable of producing and deploying between 5,000 and 6,000 such drones per month. The largest attack we have seen so far involved up to 500 drones. But in order to carry out such an attack, Russia needed at least 3 to 4 days to accumulate them.
It has been stated that the Dozor A1 will be able to independently detect and destroy enemy FPV and reconnaissance UAVs even under electronic warfare conditions. This means the drone can be used directly on the front line, where there are plenty of targets for it literally every minute. After all, the Russian Federation has recently significantly increased its production
of unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly known as drones, which are increasingly prevalent.
However, drone warfare, as they say one-on-one, still allows for the possibility of a miss. No matter how hard artificial intelligence tries, some Russian drones are also equipped with countermeasures. That's why engineers are already working on improving the Dozor A1.
In the future, integration with situational awareness systems is planned, particularly with the Delta system. If this is implemented in the future, it will allow a single operator to control a group of 5 to 7 interceptors, creating the concept of a so-called small sky air defense segment, where interceptor drones will play a key role.
Russian designers are also trying to catch up with our engineers. For example, one of the enemy's new products is the kamikaze drone BM-35. A video of its use in the center of Sumy recently appeared online. Our experts are currently studying the characteristics of this UAV. It is still unknown what kind of warhead it can be equipped with. However, the lawnmower engine and the propeller drive system indicate that the drone does not fly far and will not be used against military targets. And it was obviously developed specifically to terrorize civilians in frontline cities.
We are fighting against a dangerous, aggressive enemy who does not value human life. And we need to be very careful about the changes that are happening there. Modern equipment can exist on the territory of the Russian Federation. Russia can circumvent sanctions to produce prototypes. It cannot circumvent sanctions when it comes to mass production, when there is a need to produce 1,000 units. They are demonstrating an inability to manufacture drones independently.
This thesis was confirmed by the results of Ukrainian experts who studied the remains of the BM-35 at the site of impact. As a result, about half of the components are of foreign origin.
The drone's design contains at least 41 foreign components, including parts from Switzerland, the USA, and Taiwan. At the same time, most of the parts come from China.
According to analysts, one of the significant levers of influence on the situation could be tightening US and European sanctions, as well as thorough enforcement of the restrictions already in place. After all, the more Russian loopholes are closed, the fewer drones will end up flying over the heads of Ukrainians. And at the same time, it's important to develop our own technologies so that for every new terrorist attack, the Russians receive a worthy response.
Ukraine is triumphing. According to the Associated Press, our production capacity has already reached the level of Russia's Yelabuga plant, which assembles Shahed drones. Parity in strike drones on both sides is expected soon. What's important to know? Find out more in our report.
Catch up and surpass. Ukraine has reached production rates of its own strike drones that are comparable to those of Russia. First and foremost, this refers to the latest long-range UAV, the FP1. According to the Associated Press, Ukraine has managed to scale up its production capacity and is now assembling about 100 drones per day. At the same time, the drone is significantly cheaper than the Shahed. One FP1 costs $55,000.
The overall technical specifications are not very different from those of the Shaheds. Of course, it has a different design, but its function is the same. Despite the fact that it can fly a bit farther, has a slightly higher payload capacity, and is somewhat more advanced in terms of hitting a specific target accurately. There has never been a case where the FP1 accidentally hit civilian targets. So it's very convenient for understanding how to plan a mission, making it safe and highly accurate. And it's also 5 times cheaper than the Shahed, which is very useful for our country, which isn't that wealthy.
The secret is simple, experts explain. Ukraine does not have uninterrupted supplies of engines from Iran and China. We don't have the same production capacity as Russia, nor do we have as much money. Accordingly, our engineers simplified everything as much as possible with just one condition. The drone absolutely must reach and hit its intended target.
The structural frame of the FP1 drone is made of plywood. These components are milled on a laser machine. This is about a very cheap and mass-produced solution. The shell is then attached to this frame, featuring joints with slots and fasteners. For a kamikaze drone that is meant to make a single flight in its lifetime, ending with it simply crashing into the target and exploding, this is not just sufficient, it's the right approach.
At the same time, despite its outward simplicity, the FP1's internal components are quite advanced technologically. The drone is equipped with a whole array of sensors and modules that help it navigate through enemy electronic warfare zones, identify the target, and approach it along the most effective trajectory.
Ukraine has overcome a number of challenges, which has made it possible to create unmanned systems that meet the requirements of modern missiles, systems that are accurate to the point of impact, that can bypass electronic warfare measures, and that are capable of operating even in the absence of satellite navigation aids. So here, in fact, we're talking about technological advancements that we have achieved, and we've offered solutions that allow us to operate deep within the territory of the Russian Federation.
By deep, we mean about 1,600 kilometers. At the same time, the FP1 carries a rather powerful warhead over this distance, about 60 kilograms. There is also the possibility of increasing the amount of explosives to 120 kilograms by partially reducing the range.
This latest drone can easily bring the Russian capital into its strike zone, circling it twice. Moreover, a range of 1,600 kilometers makes such remote regions of Russia as Udmurtia, Tatarstan, Samara Oblast, Orenburg, Vologda, Kostroma, Permkrai, Bashkortostan, Yekaterinburg, and even Murmansk Oblast accessible to Ukrainian defense forces. You don't have enough fingers on your hands to count them all. So what we understand is that even though Putin tried to move his drone and missile factories further away from the border, it didn't save him.
At the same time, as noted in the Financial Times article, the FP1 is far from the only Ukrainian strike drone that hits targets in Russia every night. Combined with the number of other UAVs produced, the total is quite impressive.
What do you think about the latest events? Share your opinion in the comments, like the video, and stay informed about the main headlines. More to come.